Today's topic is related to DBMS. So firstly, we'll see that what is the full form of DBMS. DBMS stands for Database Management System. Fine. Now we will come to know about each and everything in details one by one. Firstly, we will know that what is the meaning of the term database. Database is simply a collection of information that can be maintained in the terms of rows and columns in a table. Fine. Now, rows are called as tuples and columns are known as attributes in terms of database. Fine. So, this is a simple definition of database, that database is nothing but it is a collection of information that can be maintained in rows and columns in the form of a table. And in terms of database, rows are known as tuples and columns are known as attributes. Fine. Now we will see that what are the operations that can be performed in the database. Means why do we use database? What is the need to maintain a database? That we will study one by one. So point wise it is maintained here. Like first point is creating a database. Means the operations that can be performed on the database is first to create a database. Create a database means to maintain the record in the form of rows and columns is known as creating a database, in which we will insert the values after creating a database one by one. So first, the basic operation is known as creating a database. Now the second point is mentioned here as inserting values in a database. So whatever the database you have created in the first stage, the next stage is to insert the meaningful values or the meaningful information in the database. Now, the third point is updating the database. If the database needs any updation as per the data, then we can update the database from the previous values. Now, the fourth point is fetching the data from the database. What is the meaning of fetching here? Fetching means whatever the record you have maintained in the database or whatever the table you have created or whatever the values you have inserted there. From that particular values which is already inserted in the database, from that values we can fetch out, we can take any values. Like, for example, we are maintaining an employee table in a for a database, we are maintaining an employee table. Now we want to know that suppose how many employees are getting salary less than 20,000. Fine. So if you are maintaining a database, if you have already created a database, you have inserted any values in a database, then on the basis of that inserted values, we can fetch out the data which is the required data that needs to be fetched from the database. Now, deleting the database. The last point is deleting the database or deleting the particular data from the database. If the data is no longer of any use, then we can obviously delete the database. So, these all are the operations that can be performed in the database. Now, using the database, we can generate reports. We can generate reports and answer the queries. Queries means different types of questions that is based on the that particular table or that particular database. So we can generate the reports on the basis of that particular table or database, and we can answer the queries as well with the help of that particular database. Now we will learn that what is DBMS actually. DBMS is nothing actually, that as we know that DBMS stands for Database Management System. Now what is this DBMS? DBMS means the software. It is nothing but a software that allows us to perform all the operations mentioned above is known as DBMS. So the above operations that can be performed in the database, that can be managed with the help of a software. So that is known as DBMS. Now we will see DBMS I have told you. Now we will see like we are maintaining the records related to suppose employee tables. Employee, we are maintaining some records, or we are maintaining some records related to students or product details or order details. So here employee records, student records, product details are nothing but simply these all are known as a database. Fine. So database is nothing but to maintain proper, meaningful, consistent record or information in the form of a table, that is in the form of a rows and columns, that is only known as a database. DBMS is the software that allows us to perform all the above mentioned operations properly, that is known as DBMS. Now we will come to know about this table. So here I have mentioned a table that is maintained in the form of rows and columns. This is all about employee records. The table you can see here, that is for employee records. In this record, I have maintained 4 attributes. That's why I've written it here, 4 attributes. You can see attribute means column name. Fine. So you can see column names are mentioned here as first name is employee ID, first column name is employee ID, second column name is employee name, third column name is address, and fourth column name is, that is DOJ, that stands for date of joining of that particular employee. So as I have already told you that columns are known as attributes in terms of a database. So here I have maintained 4 attributes. You can add so many attributes in a table. Like for employee records also, you can maintain their age, their gender, their designation, their email ID, their contact number. So many things you can add. So it depends upon you that how much attribute you can want to add in a table. It's not limited. Now you can see in employee ID I have written E1 and E2. So E1 and E2 is the information that I have inserted, and that is maintained in the form of rows. So rows is known as tuples in the form of database. So you can see here I have written tuple 2. In bracket I have mentioned here 2. That is 2 rows we are maintaining in this employee table. Fine. Employee name is Ram and Shyam, and their address is suppose Delhi and Mumbai, and date of joining I have mentioned here for both the employees. So this is a very simple example of a database, that how we can create a database, how we can insert the values in this. Fine. So this is the basic, very basic information that I have explained here with the help of simple concept about database. So this database management system is a very interesting topic, and so many terms, so many things we have to study in this topic. So in my next lecture, you will find the details about this DBMS.